AFCON 2023 has come and gone. Congratulations to Cote d'Ivoire for emerging as the champions of the tournament. And congratulations to our own Super Eagles for emerging as first runner-up. Hardship, police brutality, and extortion will be heading our discussion for trending stories for today. Good morning and welcome to ACNN TV, now streaming live program reaching you from the Advent Cable Network Nigeria TV studio here in the capital city of Abuja. I am Chukwu Ebuka, your anchor this morning, and today is our sports edition. Joining me in the studio right now is Mr. Raphael Jaokomo, a social and sports commentator. Welcome, Mr. Raphael.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me again.
Thank you. Mr. Rafa is putting on the South African jersey this morning. So I don't know why he is putting on the South African jersey. So, but no.
We explain ourselves.
All right. So also in the studio with me here is Prince Kelechi Madebulam. He's a professional football referee, registered Nigerian Premier League Nigerian referee, and a sports analyst also. Welcome, Mr. Kelechi.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so joining us virtually from Delta State is Comrade Abraham Soko, a sports analyst, and also virtually we have Dr. Edisiri Izu. He's also a sports analyst. All right, so we move very fast to the sports world, and it says that I have before me here on Punch Sports Extra. It said silent operator Ajayi was Eagles unsung hero at the AFCON. Silent operator Ajayi was Eagles' unsung hero at the AFCON, playing every minute for the finalists. All right, so that's on the sports Punch Sports Extra. All right, so AFCON 11, Osimhen missing, Ekong, Aina, Lukman make list. All right, so returning Chukwueze gets millions ovation. That's after Chukwueze has returned from AFCON. Salah back in full training. So the details of those story on page 4, page 7, and page 6 of Punch Sports Extra. Then it says Madrid monitoring Hodlog. Man U's player is about going to Madrid though. Proms jailed for 6 years. Proms jailed for 6 years. See that story on page 3. Member of the Elder Award cites Onyeka and Onuachu. Punch anniversary. Ekpo. Punch has intensified training for Never Team match. Alright, World Table Tennis Competition. Toriola leads Team Nigeria to Korea. My encounter with Pesero, that's coming from South African coach Bruce. Mobily penalty downs 10-man Bavarians. That's Lazio's game against Bayern.
Bayern Munich.
Yeah, that's
Bavarians.
Champions League.
Yeah.
All right, so African Games, female Eagles, Falconets resume camp today. All right, so gentlemen, AFCON is over. AFCON is over, and a whole lot of persons are not smiling. I know we all have a whole lot to say. Well, let's start from your overview of the match before we come to any other thing. All right. So let's start from you. Let's start from view, or as a common spectator, as a viewer, as a fan, and as a game lover. So let's start from you, Mr. Rafa.
I'll start by saying congratulations to the Super Eagles.
Yeah.
Because nobody even gave them the chance or the opportunity to get to where they got to. In fact, the target that was set for Pesero was semi-finals.
Yeah.
Get to the semi-finals, and they did more than that.
And got to the
Oh,
final.
I know Oliver Twist. We always wanting more. And then we got to the final and we were expecting a whole lot. And coupled with the fact that we had played with the Ivorians in the group stage and we had defeated them. So
Tell them at the group stage.
the hope was high that a lot of people even travel down to Ivory Coast to go and celebrate the trophy with the Super Eagles.
Talking about people traveling down to Ivory Coast to join watch the match. We had the stories of some people being issued fake tickets. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Sorry, we'll come back to you. You had that issue of fake tickets. What do you have to say about it?
Well,
a whole lot of us that traveled to Cote d'Ivoire, we got fake tickets,
including you.
We couldn't get into the stadium to support our Super Eagles.
If you really recall the overview of the finals, you know, I was following a post online and someone said you have just about 98 to 99 Super Eagles fans. And I won't blame the person for saying that, because look at the whole stadium round.
It was few, the Ivorians.
You just see Ivory Coast everywhere and just a few space left for the Nigerians.
So even if you have an authentic ticket, I don't think you'd have had the space to sit. Because apparently, I think the stadium was thrown open for the Ivorians.
All the Ivorians, free of charge.
So for you to even get a space, that means we really tried for the number of fans that we had in the stadium.
Yeah, but come to think of it also, it's a norms that any film that is going for a match, there's a
particular percentage
for home and for away.
I don't think we've gotten there yet in Africa.
Yeah, certainly.
I don't think we've gotten there yet. If you watch the EPL, if you watch the Spanish League or the other leagues, you would see a particular area that has been earmarked. You will not even see any other color except the color of that
the away match, of the away team.
That's why you see when the player scores, he runs to that particular area because he knows where his people are. But I don't think, like I said, we have gotten there. And then you're now playing the home team. The home team, I remember their last game that they lost 4-0. They announced that everybody should come into the stadium. We did it in Nigeria here. Nigeria was going to play Ghana in the World Cup qualifier. And buses were thrown everywhere to bring in supporters.
People to the stadium.
How many Ghanaians do you think you had in that stadium?
We had up to 100 Ghanaians.
But they won us.
It was a draw.
Yeah, it was a draw, and of course it was a loss.
Yeah,
because we needed to win the game at least by a goal. Do you understand? So like I said, I don't think Africa has gotten there yet where we begin to mark a particular percentage to the away team. And come again to the overview of the final, I think the Ivorians overdid themselves, because they were written off. You know, the case of the rejected stone
becoming
the chief cornerstone.
Exactly.
I think that's like Ivorian story, because they had given up. In fact, their supporters destroyed a lot of things when they played their last game. Destroyed the balls and all. Yeah. Now I was saying to myself, what would those people say to themselves now after destroying things? And I'm sure maybe some people might even have died. What will you say to yourself after watching this team go all the way to the finals and retaining the trophy or keeping the trophy at home? And I also want to say this, that I don't think the Nigerian team came or gave their all in that final. I don't think they came out to play in that final, because you can't play a defensive game for 90 minutes. It's not possible. Even your team, you begin to run into yourselves. You get, and apparently when the game plan of the defense was not working, I expected something to happen. And lastly, you do not change a winning team. You played in the semi-finals. I know at left back, Bright Osaya at right back, play Simon up front. Then you got to the final. I'm seeing Chukwueze up front. I'm seeing Aino at the right. I'm seeing Zaidu at the left.
Yeah. So I will come to you because I still have a question concerning this final. But we have Mr. Izu on the line. Dr. Izu, apologies please. So Dr. Izu, what do you think about Nigerians Super Eagles performance as the final match against the host Cote d'Ivoire?
My fellow guests, I think Nigeria surprised us by getting to the final, because even some of the teams themselves maybe didn't believe they would get to the final. So it was a good thing that they got to the final, and I must also commend the federal government for giving them the national award that they gave them. Getting to the final is not a small feat. And if you look at South Africa, who came first, they were given an open bus. Went back.
Yeah.
All right, so Mr. Abraham, it looks like we lost Mr. Dr. Izu. So, Mr. Abraham, what do you think about the AFCON finals against the host country, Nigeria against the host country? Your overview, sir.
Okay.
Can
The
you hear me now?
final, my view on the final of the AFCON, it was more of disappointment, real disappointment. I felt really sad. I felt I felt down. My emotions was really all over the place on that day because the reason for that was that I came into this with a lot of expectations because we have been playing perfectly well. So on that day, the turn up, we had a single shot on target for the entire game. And that stats cannot win you a game anywhere in football. You cannot win a game with a single shot on target. So I think our coach, he got it wrong on that day. I think he got it tactically wrong. Chukwueze barely had a touch of the ball before it was sent out. It was substituted, and most of our players, even Lookman, that used to be a star, Osimhen, that used to be a star, that used to turn up, he could not turn up on that day. So I really could not pinpoint what went wrong with his Eagles on that day. It was a terrible performance. I saw that Nigerians, the fans, are bullying Iwobi. Why? But the question I have to ask is that Chukwueze didn't get a touch of the ball. So why is Iwobi being scapegoated? So generally, our performance was really poor, really poor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Abraham. Dr. Izu, we have the story and says AFCON 2023. Eagles will be back. Ihanacho assures. What's your your take on Ihanacho's assurance? Is the assurance able to keep us?
Thank you for the question. I was making a point before. I don't know if you could let me finish that point.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And then I enter Ghana. So I was trying to commend the government for giving them the national award and the land, because in the past, such privileges were only given to those who won. But this one is a sense of encouragement that even though you did not win, you fought for the country gallantly to the final. And you can also see that South Africa, who came third behind us, they also giving similar treatment when they went back to South Africa. Because this was the first time they are getting to the semi-final since the year 2000 when Nigeria hosted. So I think I must commend the government for that. And that is also going to inspire them to fight for the country in subsequent editions. And so for my fellow guests have said a lot about the final, but I think there were several factors that number one is set up by the coach. Just like the guest there said, you don't change a winning team. The team that got you to the final, you don't just get to the final and bring people who have not started. For example, Samuel Chukwueze had no business starting that final. It disrupts the rhythm of the team, especially since we know that Samuel Chukwueze is not a defensive-minded player.
Yes. He's not even, he doesn't mark the ball. He doesn't run around.
As Modi Simon ordinarily would have done. And then that disrupted the team. And then the coach, with his substitution, people were getting tired. And then what was the first substitution? He took out Alex Iwobi, who was the attacking-minded player in midfield, and brought in Yusuf, who was a defensive-minded player. And so in doing so, you just made up your mind that for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to defend. And so when you win the ball, what do you do with it? If there's nobody to carry it out, like Iwobi, who was in the team, then the pressure remains in your heart. And then the marking for our set pieces, they're horrible. You can see that the 2 goals came from crosses. And that's because of fatigue and lack of concentration. There was also fear. So if he scored, he takes the game to the opponent. Ghana came here like the other guest said. I was in the stadium that day. The Ghanaians in the stadium were less than 100. But they picked up a draw and went home. In this same stadium, Equatorial Guinea beat them 4-0. And so it's not strange, it's not unusual to have the crowd all of this. So I think we need to tell ourselves from the truth, in as much as the team may have exceeded our expectations, This is a team you have also beaten 1-0 in the group stage. So what happened? Why did you change your team? And to hear myself expectations, I agree. If the team can build on from here, then there's no stopping us. Thank God we now have a reliable number one. We also have Maduka Okoye, who is doing great things in
Yes,
Yeah.
So our goalkeeping issue that has been a problem has been solved. The major problem we have now is a creative midfielder that we popularly call the number 10. We need that to give us that attacking play to create chances for our striker. We also need to improve the confidence we have in our bench players, so that when the star players like Osimhen get tired or get matched out, those who are bringing in will have the confidence. Because if you don't, for example, Ahmed Musa, who is the captain, who is the Nations Cup winner, the most experienced player there, for the whole game, the whole tournament, 7 matches, because you don't have confidence to bring him in, even in games where we are winning. And so when you now finally bring them ceremony in the final, you have shocked their confidence throughout the tournament. So the other teams do it when they are ahead, when they qualify. In the last game in the group, they bring their bench players to have some match experience, so that when you need them and you bring them in, even the opponents will be afraid. But we played Osimhen and ran him into the ground. Even when he was tired, the coach was afraid to remove him because it doesn't stop him on the bench. And so we must understand that it is squad game and goes beyond just the level on the field, so that when you bring people into the game, even the teammates on the field will have confidence to give them the ball and play together. Most of our players, don't forget our semi-final went to penalty as against Ivory Coast, who did that for 90 minutes. And so that's fatigue. If you change the players, you freshen up the players. When you come in, you have confidence. But with the pressure, with the support that the country has shown this team, they can only build on from here. And I expect that beginning with the World Cup qualifiers and later from qualifiers.
All right, so Doc, I would like to ask you a final question before I take my referee in the studio here. Peseiro in talks with NFF over contract extension. That's on Vanguard Sports. What do you think? Does his acting at the AFCON, does he really necessitate a contract extension? All right. So we're back here on the studio. Then we are coming to you. All right. So a story. One of the stories is coming from Didi and others, and they are knocking against the referee that officiated the AFCON final. Now, give us your overview of the officiating.
Okay. I'm a football referee.
Yes.
And and looking at the referee that handled the final, first I must say kudos to him. He did a very good job. Yes.
Okay.
Now,
tell us.
Indeed, he has made his point. Yes, some calls for Nigeria were not given, some for the Ivorians were given. Yes, I think one place the referee got it wrong. Personally, I'm giving my own personal overview now. One place he got it wrong was the infringement of Frank Kesse on Umar Zaidu.
Yes.
That was an infringement, and that's a cautionable offense. Okay. Now, some referees are going to let it slide, just like he did, and some are going to call it back for an infringement. Now, that was supposed to be a card offense, because if you recall vividly, an attack was on.
Yeah.
Zaidu moved, and Kesse had to stop that movement
with an elbow.
Exactly, with an elbow, and that's supposed to be a card offense. You know, some person will say it's even a red card offense. But before you give card, there's a part of the law that talks about fouls and misconduct. Anyways, that's for another day.
No, tell us.
Okay.
Just give us a brief
now,
so that we understand your view of whatever you're saying.
Now, when you look at fouls and misconduct,
yes,
there are some fouls we call careless fouls, and there are some that we call reckless fouls.
Intentional fouls, right?
Now, what Kesse did was professional. At the same time, it calls for caution, because he saw a break that might lead to goal. Now, if you go back to a match against South Africa, there was a counter attack that moved, and if you remember, Ekong held the player until he brought
tight.
him that.
Like your family members.
You know,
The guy was really
I-
running.
exactly.
Am I your mate?
I think that's what we refer to as professional foul.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know,
Okay,
he was
so-
just ready to sacrifice himself for his team. Give me the card, because you know if that guy had passed, it's going to cost us
If
something.
you also notice when the ref gave him card and was still calling him, did you see his countenance? What?
Exactly.
You've given me the card, what?
Let the
What
game
else?
flow.
Econ's match offense against the South Africa.
Africa.
That, you know, but that of truth be told, the tackle of Frankese on Omar Zaidu ought to call for caution, and I expected, even if the referee did not get it, the VAR ought
should
to
have
call
called.
his attention, but they didn't. So I would say that he got it wrong. But on a general note, I must tell you, the referee tried in terms of officiating. Even the VAR itself, in fact, officials throughout the tournament, I must give them kudos. Because if you see, even Jose Mourinho said VAR headquarters ought to be in Africa. Because AFCON really gave the best for VAR. Unlike the leagues where you see, okay, just like the Champions League, you see the goal Madrid conceded. VAR was there but could not call it back. So, and I must give them a thumbs
I want
up.
to add my voice to the refereeing of the AFCON.
Okay.
I think it's the best
So far.
I believe, I strongly believe that because we're going to have the European Championship
yeah.
very soon, I am sure they are already talking to the African counterparts and asking them how they did it. Because first and foremost, those referees were young, very young referees, and their calls were spot on. When you needed VAR,
Just came into play.
you watch the English league, you hear the VAR tell you we are not too sure, you can do what you want to do.
It's
And
your
then,
call as the center
do you
referee,
understand?
yes.
You'll be hearing calls and you're wondering, and then they'll come maybe a day after and say, we are sorry. There was no point at any time that we heard them say, we are sorry for this call. It was spot on. Even the team would tell this referee tried. He tried. Even when it's against your team, this referee tried than me. Red card. This one, that one. Well, like he rightfully said, that was a bad tackle. First and foremost, Zaidu was not even with the ball.
Exactly.
He was just
yeah.
making a move for the ball, and then you go with him. And when even Zaidu was calling the attention of the ref, Casey still went to him and said, hey, what? More like he knew he had the backing of the referee. Do you understand? And one thing I also want to point out is this. If you play good football, even the referee cannot mismanage the game. Because then it will be clear for the world to see that something is wrong in this game. But you know, at a point when Nigerian footballers started complaining, it now appears to look like these ones are complaining because they are frustrated, which was actually what it looked like, because our players started becoming very frustrated. Yeah. I give kudos to Lukman, like Doctor was talking about, that Lukman that used to be in the game. Now Lukman gave it his all. People said I didn't play anything. I gave it his all. But one thing you would take note of is this: Simon, who was helping Aino, was not even on the field.
And Chukwueze is not.
And you have a Chukwueze who doesn't have a defensive mind.
Exactly.
Do you understand? And Iwobi was more or less roaming in the field. Do you understand me? So Aino was by himself.
So he was overbodied.
If you play a bad game, the referee can do and undo. But like I said, give it to the referees for this tournament. Europe right now is learning, and more. In fact, the English Premier,
CONCACAF, their tournament is about to start.
Yeah. They should come, and then English referee, I say PGMOL, whatever they call them, give kudos to the African referees and the VR people that were behind the VR team.
All right, so thank you for that, Mr. Abraham. The headline on Punch Sports says silent operator Ajayi was Eagles' unsung hero at the AFCON, and he played every minute for the finalists. And we also have a story that here they say soldiers questions non-recognition as Tinubu lavishes gifts on Super Eagles. And then we want you also to merge that of the Vanguard Sports, Pesero in talks with NFF over contract extension. So what are your views on these three stories?
Okay, thank you very, very much. I'm going to go with the first question you asked about Ajayi being a silent operator. I think I agree totally with that summation, because before this tournament, before this AFCON, I barely know him because I think he plays for West Brom,
West Brom, yeah.
in England. And I had to, due to his performance, I had to go and check to know about this footballer, this dude, because his performance was, well, they were top notch. It was solid, and he was not controversial. I think he barely had the card in the tournament. He was just doing his job. He was just perfect on the pitch.
Clean
So
sheet,
that
yeah.
summation is quite spot on. And I think this performance is a stepping stone for him. I believe that if there are scouts in that tournament, which I know they are, they will definitely have noted that performance. On Pesaro deserving a new contract, based on the performance, based on our overall performance in the AFCON tournament, I think you cannot begrudge NFF giving him a new contract, because someone that took you to the finals of a major world tournament, I think that person deserves a new contract. And apart from the final, I think the other, our round of 16 games, the group stage games, I think he got his tactics spot on. So I think apart from the final game, the team has cohesion, it has unity. So I think we should go with that spirit. You don't fix what is not broken.
Yeah, we should maintain the tempo of this to the next tournament.
Contract deserve the condition that is being handed to these footballers. The truth is, in as much as our armed forces, they are not being paid as much as they should, I think the land, the recognition, the awards that we handed over to these our footballers based on a tournament, based on our AFCON performance. Are you getting it? For instance, we still have serious issues with insecurity in the country. Should we award these soldiers awards for not being able to curb the kidnapping situation in the country? Should we award these soldiers award for being able to curb the insurgency in Borno State? The point I'm trying to make is that when these issues, we know that they cannot be solved 100%, but at least when we get to 80%, when we will know that insecurity is being solved, when we know that insurgency is being tamed, then we can start talking about awards to the soldiers. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
But for now, I think their salaries should be improved. That should be what we should be thinking about now. I think there's what you call fatality allowance. I think that should be improved too. That's what we should be focusing on, not just going to give award for mediocrity. We still have a very terrible security situation in the country. I don't know if you allow me to touch on the police brutality situation in Delta briefly.
All right, so because of our time, and we've passed that story, we've spoken about it. But just in 60 seconds, please just give us your overview on the Champions League matches that were played 2 days ago.
Yesterday.
And yesterday.
Okay. The Champions League, I think I will start with Real Madrid. Real Madrid, I think that was on Tuesday. It was, I think that's what we call football heritage. They showed that they had more experience than Leipzig in that particular match, and it was a one-way affair. Then Lazio pulled out a shocker yesterday. It was a shocker because nobody expected them as I spoke about the football heritage. I think Bayern Munich also have that football heritage, but the football heritage was shocked yesterday that they couldn't perform as much as they should. Man City against Copenhagen, it was a one-way affair. It was a routine victory for Man City. For me, I think Man City is the best team in the world, right? The Premier League trophy. That's my own personal opinion. So thank you very much.
All right. So before we let you go, let me take this as your last word. Just in 60 seconds, let me drop back a little bit. Permit me, please, to hear from you on that police brutality, since you are currently in Delta State.
Okay.
60
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah. So the police brutality situation in Delta State. You know, the news said that 4 boys were intercepted driving GLK, and I think the police postman Idapi came out with a statement and saying that they were intercepted because they didn't have the proof of ownership or so about that particular vehicle. What I want to say is that the boys, the youths in Delta State, if you are between, let's say, 40, the youths generally, they are being profiled by the police officers in the state. Because I drive a smoker, I'm a youth. I'm not, police don't stop me. They just say go because they feel that, okay, this guy is a smoker. But if I'm driving a Venza, before I approach the checkpoint, they will ask me to park. If I'm driving a GLK, before I approach the checkpoint, they will ask me to park. They will start asking unnecessary questions. They will start. So this profiling has to stop for the situation to improve in Delta State. Are you getting? Because in as much as we understand that, okay, some of the boys that drive these big cars, they are into fraud, they are into crimes. There are some people that are legitimate, that have legitimate also. Are you getting it? No, not everybody that I think that the police should come up with better ways of going after these boys, not by profiling them on the road. Are you getting it? So that's my view. Without that, there will be serious protests, there will be serious issues with our policing in Delta State and the country.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Abraham. Thank you for joining the show this morning. So back here in the studio, gentlemen, we the time is our time is fast spent. But before we go, I'd like to just, what's your pick for the weekend, this EPL this weekend? We have matches this weekend. We have Brentford, Liverpool, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Burnley, Arsenal, and Burnley, Arsenal on Saturday.
I see Arsenal winning.
Thank you.
I
Just keep going.
I see Arsenal winning. I see Liverpool also winning.
Brentford.
Yes.
Right, so let's hold it there.
Okay.
All right. So Mr. Raphael, Man City, Chelsea, Luton, Man United.
Luton, Man United. Man United is beginning to get their game, so I give it to Man United. Manchester City, Chelsea. I don't know where I want to lean towards. Trust me.
I would have asked Mr. Abraham.
I don't know.
Mr. Abraham.
He won't answer you. He won't answer you. But I'll pick a draw.
Okay.
Man City, Chelsea. They've done it before.
Yeah.
I believe they can do it again.
All right. So, Mr. Abraham, I perceive you are a full-blown Chelsea supporter.
He's eager
Man City,
waiting.
Chelsea, Saturday.
Okay. Yeah, very, very right. I'm a full-blown Chelsea supporter, and the last match we played, my heart was in my mouth. It came through. But on the Man City, Chelsea, by the weekend, I think my mind and my love is with Chelsea. But based on stats, based on stats, based on performances, based on probably recent history, I see Man City running away with that one. Objectively speaking.
All right. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for gracing our invite this morning. Thank you, our first timer, Prince Kelechi.
With pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you, our
very
frequent
much.
guest,
Thank you
Mr.
very
Raphael.
much. Thank you very much.
Over there in Delta State, thank you, Mr. Abraham and Dr. Izu, for sharing your time with us this morning. All right, thank you, viewers, and just to let you know, AFCON 2023 has ended, and the story of a tournament that delivered to us the full package of surprises. Who thought Cote d'Ivoire could just come from third place runner-up and to lift the trophy? And so AFCON has also shown us drama, has also shown us heartbreaks, and has also given us dreams, because we now have dreams of our continent beating the other continents of the world. And then AFCON also gave us a bit more than we thought. We saw a whole lot that weren't expected. We see stars, we see people coming up, and we see those who we expected more, we saw less from them. But once more, I want to say congratulations to the champions and all those who won one thing or the other: most valuable player, best keeper, best team, and all the rest. It's the end of the tournament for 2023 edition, but not the end of the story of AFCON. The pursuit for greatness continues. Thank you for being a part of today's edition. Until we come your way next time, God bless you.